If you read the synopsis and the explosive prologue for the Korean web novel Isaac, you are promised a dark, edgy masterpiece. You're told the MC is an insane, traitorous terrorist soldier who transmigrates into a magic academy with zero rules to hold him back. You expect a high-octane, blood-soaked thriller. But if you actually jump into these 202 chapters, you will quickly discover one of the most polarizing bait-and-switches in light novel history. Is Isaac a brilliant, calculating mastermind weaponizing malicious compliance? Or is he just a lazy scammer trapping the reader in an exhausting, repetitive loop? Our protagonist, Jun Young, was a cold-blooded soldier who fought a losing war, pulled off a devious last stand, and awoke in another world as Isaac, the black sheep heir of a noble family. His family desperately wants him dead, so they send him to the campus, the Empire's greatest educational center, explicitly hoping he will get expelled and ruined. The faculty is told to treat Isaac like he doesn't exist and that the rules don't protect him. But instead of hiding or training, Isaac realizes a loophole. If the rules don't protect him, the rules don't bind him either. Armed with a cynical mind and an absolute hatred for effort, his goal isn't to conquer the academy. It's to achieve peak, uninterrupted laziness. This is where the fan base completely splits down the middle, and why the novel's historical ratings look like a volatile stock market. The 5-star perspective. Early on, Isaac is incredibly refreshing. He isn't a mindless, bloodthirsty brute, nor is he a soft-hearted generic hero. He is a pragmatic, deeply human anti-hero. He deals with arrogant nobles and corrupt superiors not through explosive magic, but by manipulating people and playing human chess. As he famously mutters by chapter 12, "Do you know what the easiest thing in the world is? Turning people into idiots." Watching him confidently smirk while turning high and mighty prodigies into absolute fools through bureaucratic loopholes is top-tier psychological comedy. The 3-star frustration. However, if you are reading this hoping for the badass action promised in the prologue, you are going to be starved. There is not a single real battle for the first 50 chapters. Instead, the story falls into a rigid, highly predictable formula. Isaac wants to slack off. A generic, arrogant noble blocks him. Isaac devises an outlandish scam utilizing an incredibly contrived school regulation to bypass them. Isaac slacks off again. By chapter 50, you are on your 6th or 7th iteration of this exact same loop. It begins to feel less like a tactical thriller and more like a repetitive grind where the scams only succeed because the antagonists are written to be profoundly stupid. If you've ever read novels like Lazy Sword Master, you know exactly how frustrating this specific brand of protagonist can be. The constant narrative focus on his slothful appearance and permanent smirk can quickly turn from cool to deeply annoying when you just want to see him genuinely retaliate and crush the flies buzzing around him. Because Isaac is physically weak in the early arcs, he is constantly being used, blackmailed, and manipulated by higher powers. He always manages to wiggle out of it via a clever counter-scam, but the lack of raw, satisfying physical catharsis leaves a lot of action-hungry readers feeling entirely baited. Final verdict, 3.8/5 stars. Isaac is a great novel that suffers from an identity crisis in its marketing. If you go into this expecting a traditional power fantasy or a shonen action grind, you are going to drop it out of sheer boredom by chapter 30. However, if you go into it expecting a cynical, dark comedy about a tired ex-soldier using malicious compliance to torment a fantasy academy's administration, it is an incredibly unique and entertaining ride. Now that the main story and side stories are fully completed, it's a quick, easy binge. Just be prepared for a slow burn before the real teeth of the plot come out. If you were dropped into a magical academy where the rules explicitly didn't protect you, would you try to become the strongest mage, or would you pull an Isaac and find a loophole to do absolutely zero homework? Let me know your survival strategy in the comments. Smash that like button, hit subscribe so we can keep tearing down misleading synopses, and I'll see you in the next lecture.